You know, I'm gonna say this. I don't like this light. I like the red light. I sit up here and listen to Janice, a lot of her content, and how I ran into Janice is I just happened to be online surfing, just looking for shit to talk about, to look at and talk about. So I was just surfing. I ran into this sister named Janice. I ain't never seen the sister no more, seen her before. So I sit and listen to her. And she was hitting the nail on a lot of her content. She hit the nail, I'd say 70% on the head. I will agree and give the sister that. I will give her that. I ain't gonna take that away from her. She do her back her history check. But she do go extensively. No doubt about it. I get that to the sister. But what the grift is a lot of these Negroes since the FBA movement coming. I ain't knocking that movement. Excuse me. I agree with it too with Tariq Nasheed that we have to delineate from Africans. I agree with it due to a lot of the shit that's coming over here that a lot of these Africans were doing. Not all. Let me make that clear. Not all was coming over here on that shit. Not all. But some of them coming over here being salty towards black people. And like I said, when I talk to a lot of Africans who tell me this shit, especially truck drivers that's out here on this road, they tell me that the State Department tells them lies about black Americans. Some of them go along with the lies, and then they already have propaganda about black Americans over there, just like we got propaganda with them with flies and shit flying over their head, living in poverty. Okay, we both get bombarded with propaganda about each other, and this is all about keeping division. But somewhere down the line, yes, I agree, black people, we had black FBA Americans, we had to delineate. I agree with that. With that we had to, because everybody from the Caribbean and the rest of the diaspora was fucking attacking us for nothing, other than the African booty scratcher thing that Sarge Willie P was talking about. But overall, I was just dissecting, listening to her shit and everything when she talked about the black oil tycoons, why a lot of the thriving black communities, where we could go through all the names, it'd take damn near forever, of all the thriving black communities destroyed, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, who was literally bombed to the ground by the U.S. Air Force. The guy, I give her that, by the U.S. Air Force. And right after World War II, when you had brothers, the Harlem Hellfighters came from World War I, and was fighting over there in World War I. Yes, I agree with her about a lot of the inventions that were created by black people that made Western world what it is today. I agree with her. I'm not going to take none of that shit from her, because I know that shit. I research and know that shit. And I'm a truck driver. And I've been researching this shit since I was 14, while she was up there pocking her lips and twerking and shit. She wasn't doing all, she just now getting into the shit. She ain't went as deep as I have. I already knew about the paperwork with the oil deals and shit, how they was trying to take the land from black oil developers in Oklahoma and northern Texas and shit. Matter of fact, you had one of the richest women in America one time. She was a black woman. I can't think of her name, but it come to me. And they tried to classify her as a Caucasian woman because she was one of the richest black women in America, and it was white men trying to marry her just so they could get to her wealth. Just so they could get to her wealth. That shows you how white folks will do. They'll reclassify you as white just so they can be able to get the wealth from you. Like they did, what's that brother from Egypt, Hafni Mustafa. This brother, clearly a black man. He looked like an FBA for Janisa. That brother looked like he could be an FBA black man. While you running around here telling y'all niggas like Dane, Challeway running around here telling these niggas clearly look like they West African and Ghanese and Senegalese, telling them that they run around talking I'm indigenous America. Niggas, stop. Stop. Yes, they brought slaves over here to the Americas. Okay? Yes, they did. 5 civilized tribes took up slavery because the Europeans, whites told them to basically blend in. So those indigenous tribes, the 5 civilized tribes, had African slaves. Those Native American, indigenous Native men that look like most Native Americans that you go throughout the West, out there in the Southwest, the Northwest, Central and South America, look just like them. Now, yes, you do have African admixture because due to the fact that you had Africans mixing with the indigenous people of Central and South America. Yes, you have that. You have yes, we blended. That's how I got indigenous Native American DNA, from those unions of Native American and black people mixing. You had a Native American brother out there looking at that sister out there field with them big old cheeks, and she was looking chocolatey and good. He said, I'm gonna take that. He took that sister in and married her up and had children with her. That's how you got them black indigenous people in America. Then before that, you had Mansa Musa. They found maps. They had maps in Timbuktu of the North American coast, of all the way down to Alaska, the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean islands, and the Atlantic coast of South America. They had these maps that goes back down near 800 years. Africans been coming over here. So yeah, there ain't nothing new. You always had Africans coming over here, Janisa. Just for you to know that. There is nothing new up under the sun. You had even before that with the Olmec heads down there in Mexico. You had the Olmecs. There was of African people descent that came from Africa thousands of years ago. Oh yeah, by the way, Janisha, you have melanated people from all the way from Indonesia, Micronesia, Melanesia, people that look like African descended people, because different groups of Africans people moved out the African continent been moving out the African continent for thousands of years. Hell, black people been around damn near 380 years on the African continent. Why y'all niggas really trying to go really deep on this damn thing? And you even had a nigga that called Tariq Nasheed with some goddamn pseudo bullshit ass sign talking about humanity came out of America first, when there's no evidence of that shit. No motherfucking paleontology shit like that ever happened. Now, yes, I do agree with Janisha on the ethnogenesis shit. It wasn't enough Africans that came over after that, because they had stopped bringing Africans over after actually the British had an embargo that was put in place in 1758. Right before the Revolutionary War, the British put a blockade on slaves. Yes, they did. So what they did was, normally they started motherfucking slave breeding. That's why you got niggas out here that's way more athletic than white folks, because they were breeding niggas like goddamn horses, prize animals and shit, like show dogs. That's how they would breed. That's why you think niggas so athletic. So I'm just telling you, Janisa, man, you need to stop before you run to somebody like General Susetti and young Pharaoh that's been doing in this game for years and saying the same shit you talking about now. They already knew that shit. We already knew about the oil deals and shit. That ain't nothing new. You talking, it just fell in my